Today I want to introduce you to a product that a lot of people just doesn't even know exists, and it's something that a lot of people that have the best looking yards, including golf courses and things, use on their grass to make it really look great and actually save you a lot of time. I'm going to introduce you to a product. We're going to spray it on the yard, and I'm going to show you in the video exactly what this product can do for you and for your lawn. Today's video is sponsored by Graham Spray Equipment. You see my 400-gallon Graham spray rig on the back of my truck. It's what I use for my weed control and fertilization business. If you need a spray rig, go to grahamse.com or give those guys a call. All right, here's my Bermuda yard. Filming this in August. The grass is growing pretty fast, which is why you see some like clippings out there, some of that lighter green stuff. I cut it yesterday, and you know, just to be honest with you, probably cut a little bit too short, but that's why I've got some brown spots in the yard and want to try to help it look better as we approach fall, where it's going to be transitioning to dormancy for too long. But at this point in time, it's still growing very, very quickly. So here's the product I'm going to introduce you to, and this is called Primo Max. Now some of you may be familiar with it, and you see there it says Plant Growth Regulator for Turf Growth Management. What does that mean, and what can this do for your lawn? Now Syngenta sent me some samples. This is one of the samples, so that's a little 4-ounce bottle. It comes in bigger bottles. But what a growth regulator does, the way I understand it, okay, without getting too scientific here, is it takes the energy that the plant is using, okay, and a lot of times it takes that energy and it grows leaves upward, and it's going to take that and hopefully make some of that energy be used to grow deeper roots and maybe even make the plant grow a little bit more dense and thick. So people would say that using a growth regulator on the lawn can do a couple things. One, it might improve the health of the turf so that it's more prepared for drought or winter stress, things that can stress the grass out, because it's improved the root health of the grass. Other thing that I've heard people say, and I wouldn't necessarily use it just for this reason, but potentially can help it fill in bare spots quicker, again for some of those same reasons. The main reason I use it, and I think this is the primary reason to use it, is it reduces your mowing. Now I would say, practically speaking, in my experience, it reduces your mowing by about 1/2. Now does that mean if you're cutting the grass every week you can go to cutting it every 2 weeks? Well, potentially, but for me, I'm probably still going to mow it like every week, but it's going to be easier to mow because I'm not having to cut as much off. And this, you know, I'm dealing with Bermuda grass. I know other grasses can grow fast as well, and after a week, sometimes in the summer with a lot of fertilizer, it's a lot of grass to cut even after just 1 week. So if I can reduce that to where it's barely grown much at all without making the plant sick or anything like that, I'm just trying to actually improve the health of the grass but suppress the growth. Now there's growth regulators for shrubs. They can also do that. You think about shrubs that need trimmed quite often and have a similar effect. What we're going to do in this video, I'm going to actually measure the height of the grass. I cut this yesterday. Now on my mower, I think I had it set at 3 inches or something. 3 inches on the mower may not translate to 3 inches in the actual yard. So what I want to do is take a tape measure and let's just see how tall the grass is. I want to spray my front yard, but I would like to leave at least a section of it that's unsprayed, and then let's give it a week and see, does it change at all? And then we may give it another week, may not, I don't know. But I want to at least see after 1 week what the grass looks like and how much growth we actually suppress by using this product. Now the other thing to understand about Primo Max is you want to read the label and use the rate for your grass types, which can vary greatly. So on a St. Augustine lawn, it's going to be a much lower rate than it would be on a Bermuda lawn. Think about Bahia grass, you know, because one of the things this is used for is suppress the seed head. You know how Bahia grass, if you're familiar with it, it puts up a seed head very quickly. So you got to use a really high rate to suppress the Bahia grass. Sometimes I think people use this on a cool season lawn. Let's consider a weed like Poa annua that you have on a cool season lawn. There's not a lot of options out there to kill Poa in a cool season lawn, but sometimes what people do, they'll spray it with a growth regulator like Primo Max, and it will suppress the growth of the Poa and maybe suppress the seed head so that it doesn't stick out as bad in the lawn. One last tip before I start spraying, as far as how I use this, typically during the fastest grow growing season. So if the grass is not growing that much, I'm not worried about it. But for our warm season lawns, a lot of times it's during the summer months with a lot of rain, fertilizer kicks in, it really starts growing. And I spray it about once a month. Now you could, and I've heard this may even give you better results, go down to a half rate and spray it like every 2 weeks, but that's more work. So in this situation, I'm just going with the full rate for Bermuda grass, and I'm spraying it at the max rate again, and I'm just doing it in August, so this will probably be the only time I'm doing it on this yard. It is possible you could just do it just on the edges if you wanted to cut down your trimming and edging. You also could do it at a little bit heavier rate, but at too heavy a rate, you may cause some discoloration in turf. Now again, I showed you the lawn. It already has a little bit of discoloration from the mowing. I think that'll recover by the time we end the video. So let me spray it. Actually, let me do this. Let me measure the grass, then we'll spray the grass, then we'll come back and check and see what kind of suppression we're getting. All right, let's see if we can get a halfway accurate reading on the grass here. I've got my trusty tape measure here, and again, I think the deck was set at 3 or something, but I had basically a flat tire. Anyway, you can see what I'm seeing. Hopefully, I'm gonna call that like 2 1/4 is what I feel like I'm seeing on the measurement here. Now, one of the things when I spray a yard, I'm not going to spray this whole yard. One of the things I like to do, pull the hose all the way to the furthest point of the yard and then walk backwards, not backwards, but walk back to the truck. What I don't want to be doing is spraying and trying to drag the hose, you know, because then you get something goes wrong and you're getting an uneven pattern. So I'm going to start kind of where this tree is out here. And so I'm gonna have this whole right section over here that's not even to the right of me, that's not sprayed, and we can compare that with the area that is sprayed. This is my trusty Graham spray rig here. I'm spraying. I spray about 2 gallons per 1,000 square feet. And I've got the Primo Max already mixed up in here. Now, one of the things you want to keep in mind is don't spray it right after the grass has been mowed. Like mow it, you know, give it a little bit of time. All that's explained on the label. And you might also don't spray it right before you mow the grass either. So give it a little bit of time. So I mowed the grass yesterday. Should be good now. Also, another thing I've been thinking about, I don't plan to do this, but I think this would work for somebody. If I was an all-inclusive lawn service, meaning, well, not all-inclusive, I don't know, hardly anybody does everything, but let's just say I did maintenance as well as the weed control and fertilization. One of the things I believe I would do if I lived in an area where I think people would pay for this and the yards look great, you're on the property every other week, take care of any weeds, I think you could have some fantastic yards that you charge monthly year-round and they never have to worry about anything. Okay, I got it sprayed. Let's give it a little bit of time. We'll come back and see how well it's working. It's not quite time to check back on the lawn yet. It's been about 5 days, I think. What I want you to see is one, brown spots. That's not the product. That's when I mowed the grass. I scalped. Let me just show it to you up close, see if you believe me or not. But anyway, I just got a little too close there and took some of the green off of this Bermuda. It'll bounce back, I do believe. Not ready to measure it yet. The other thing that happened is we have had rain. So if it's not growing, it's actually drizzling right now. If it's not growing, it's not because it hasn't rained. And the last thing that happened, sorry to tell you too many things that happened. The last thing that happened, I've been driving these robot mowers some, and after I filmed it the next day, I come out here and one of the robots is running in the front yard. Fortunately, I was able to stop it where it only cut about half the front yard. So we still have plenty that has not been cut since we did the application. Just giving you the full information here so we can have a complete video. We'll be checking back soon to see how much growth we suppressed with one application of the growth regulator. All right, we're a week after the application and let's check out the results and see how well it worked. So here's the yard. You can see, again, we've already talked about the brown spots where I mowed a little too low. Other stuff going on, and this is what I'm gonna check where I'm measuring. So we did not spray over there. Over here has been sprayed. In the middle is where a golf cart gets run a lot. especially lately. We've had plenty of rain. I mean, it's been raining today. There's water on the driveway, you can see. So let's not go to the area that's been suppressed by lots of golf cart traffic. And let's go over here and measure the part that was sprayed but has not been driven over much with a golf cart. All right, here we go. Tape measure checking. We were at 2 1/4. I believe 1 week, hot weather and rain. I'm not saying it hadn't grown. I'm gonna say 2 1/2 maybe. That's what I'm gonna call that. Now again, 1/4 inch of growth in a week is, in my mind, good. I don't want to lose color or anything. I just want it to not grow as fast, make it easier to mow. And now this can work again. It doesn't have to be somebody that's real mowing their yard. It can work just for like people like me. All right, so let's go over here and look at the part that has not been sprayed and check the height on it. I remember doing the application, I started where that tree is and sprayed to this way. So if we go to left of the tree, I think we will get the higher grass. Let's see what we got. What's your prediction? Go ahead and be saying it in your mind as we're about to check it. What are we gonna get? I mean, there's a blade that's sticking up almost to 3 inches. But I would say, just to be accurate, I'm gonna call it more like 2 3/4. Try to get my camera down here low. There's some that's sticking up right to about the 3 inch mark. So, you know, call that 3 inches. That seem accurate, but some of it just a fudge above 3 inches. So there you have it. I know this wasn't the biggest sample size we're gonna get. We literally just let it grow for 1 week, and we got a 1/4 inch growth over here. We got about 3/4 inch growth over here. Again, practically speaking, I think it'll reduce your mowing about 50%. This definitely needs to be mowed over here. I don't know what you have experience with Bermuda grass, but after, you know, a week and it's grown 3/4 of an inch in the summertime, you probably need to mow it. I've been mowing it more than every week, but I wanted to give this time to work. Again, if you do half rates more often, you may get better results. On subsequent, if that's the right word, applications, we may get improved results. But I just wanted to show you it does work, and I think it was visible here. So I'd love to hear from you. Do you use growth regulator? What is your recommendation if you do? Do you do the full rate like I did, like once a month? Do you do a half rate more often? And what kind of results do you get? Appreciate you watching. Check out the resources at lawncarelife.com. There's a link in the description below where you can check out the 12-month mentoring program, see if that's a fit for you. There's also the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy. And we'll see you guys in the next video.